WECU 1570 AM and W298BX 107.5 FM, Winterville, North Carolina. WNOS 1450 AM and W272EK 102.3 FM, licensed to New Bern, North Carolina.
Motivations with Glenn.
Good to everyone in the name of Jesus. So glad you could join us today. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. May the Lord take a liking to you and plenty blessings to you. This is the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cummins-Williams. Here on Awesome Radio, WECU 1570 AM, 107.5 FM. This is part 2 of Sunscreen and polymorphous light eruption. We're going to include warts, common warts, and different factors about warts. Here's Apostle Jacqueline Cummins-Williams.
Hey, Dr. Glenn, and to our listening audience on today, welcome, welcome, welcome. We hope that you enjoyed our show on last week, and this week we're doing a continuation and just adding a few more things that we need to look at with skin issues and different things. Last week we talked about, we brought up the question whether people of color should wear sunscreen and looking at how we should care for our skin. We talked about moles and skin tags and how sometimes it's really not a mole or a skin tag and how you need to let the professionals take them off and remove them because it could actually be a form of skin cancer.
Absolutely.
If you don't know what you're looking at. And I mean, it's common. There's a lot of people. I mean, we're not doctors, and we all, a lot of times people of color have moles and skin tags, and we're not able to distinguish what could be skin cancer versus not. And you definitely don't want to remove something that could be a form of cancer or the beginning of cancer.
Yeah, you don't want to remove yourself without contacting a medical or professional because what happens if you try to remove it yourself? Now it spreads to another part of your body.
It spreads or it gets bigger or it goes deeper because you took the top layer off and left the core in there, which could have cancer on it. So, I'm just want to remind us to go see the doctor, and they said in the paperwork that we saw last week that Black people die more frequently of skin cancer.
Yeah.
And it's because we're not getting diagnosed or treated because we're allowing certain things to go there and it festers for a long time. And we think it's just a mole or it's just a spot or it's just, it may even think that you have eczema and it could be skin cancer.
That's right.
So we want you to get checked out. Don't diagnose it yourself. You're not a doctor. It may look like something that you've seen someone else have or something that you've seen in the past, but underneath there could be something else going on.
Do you have that document available where it says Black people should wear sunscreen? Because it states that Black people say that they don't have to wear sunscreen. But the fact is, black people or any person should utilize sunscreen. It don't matter if you're black, white, Spanish, or what. Every human being should use sunscreen.
Well, it did say here why so many black patients are dying of skin cancer. I have that particular one, but let's see here. I'm sure that I have it because I have everything from last week. And it says here.
Your studio over there, your little office.
Yeah, over here with I brought my sticky notes today too. I'm the sticky note queen. I love it. It says, do black people need sunscreen, myth and facts?
Yeah.
I have it here. I kept it, Dr. Glenn.
That's the one.
Studies show that minority populations, particularly people of Hispanic or black, take fewer steps to protect themselves from the sun and are less likely to wear sunscreen. But we definitely do need it. The sun, and this is a myth, that the sun doesn't damage dark skin. Oh, yes, it can. Oh, yes, it does. Stop thinking that. And I know we've always been told we absorb the sun.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, you may not be absorbing it. You may be absorbing something that is causing you to have cancer.
It might be the UV rays, UAV rays, different rays. I have a typo on that. Can't get to right now, but the rays are very harmful.
And the myth that we don't burn, yes, we do. We can get sunburn, and we can get damage, and we can get cancer also, just like any other race, and get skin cancer.
Matter of fact, we probably can get it quicker.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it says, although dark skin has more melanin, which provides some protection against UV radiation, it is still susceptible to sunburn, photoaging, yes, because you can age and your skin can look older, and at risk of skin cancer. Darker skins may not show these visible signs of sun damage readily, but it still happens.
And that's why you should use sunscreen. Is that correct?
That's right. And sometimes, because we're darker, we just see that we roasted a little bit more. But some of the other, races, they'll see the redness and the irritation, but we may not notice it as that, and we just think that we just gotten darker.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen a person in public with an umbrella and it's not raining because they have that umbrella to protect themselves from the sun?
Oh, yeah, and I am that person. I've seen me do it. Because, when it gets too hot, I don't want to be just sitting out in that blaring sun. And some places I know there's no shade. I will bring an umbrella and a big wide brim hat. I just bought one that covers the back and a wide brim in the front.
So let me ask you, you do it for two reasons, from the sunlight and from the heat.
From the sunlight, and especially the heat and how bright it can be out there. You need to create some kind of shade, and I don't want the sun directly on my skin like that. Like I said, I know, and I've had a little bit of a scare about a month ago where I thought it was a skin tag.
Yeah.
And the doctor looked at it and said, that's not a skin tag. Now, I was going to remove it, just go and get something and freeze it off or whatever. And I thought it was a skin tag. And he said, no, that can be a form of cancer. It has to be tested.
You know what? You said something a minute ago that drew something to my attention, and that was sun rays, sunlight. I very rarely use the divider, the sun divider in your car. Mm-hmm. Now, I use it more often than ever, because when I'm driving out of my driveway and my house faces the east, so sunlight coming from the east is very bright. So now I use my sunscreen in my car religiously.
Oh, yeah, and you can get an extender for those as well. Yeah. That will extend it so you can get more shade in there. So a lot of people, they take it and they cover their front windshields with something so that it keeps the car. We only really worry about the heat most of the time, but you can be exposed to long periods of sun by going on long car rides. And now your body is exposed to the sun. So you need to protect yourself, whether you're in the car or out of the car.
Yeah, in my car, my sun visor has a part that can extend it, so it covers up. Like if the sun is blaring through my driver's side, I need to extend it. I can just pull a tab and extend it, so I'm covered fully from the sunlight.
That is cool. I need one of those. I don't have it. And some people put them on their window. They stick on the window with, four little things, sticky things, and you can put it on your passenger or your driver's side window.
It's good. Well, we have 1 minute and 40 seconds remaining for this particular segment. Then we'll go to polymorphosis and light eruption, because I definitely want to talk about that. And people with eczema, how sun affects people with eczema, and why you need sunscreen and polymorphosis for eczema. Then I have audio. We come in from the break with the lady that appeared on the Steve Harvey show explaining polymorphosis, light eruption. Apostle will take us out to the break. 1 minute.
Hey, today, if you'd like to call in, you can call in and you could be live right here on the air with Dr. Glenn and myself, Apostle Jacqueline Cullins-Williams. We'd love to hear from you on today. And I know that our favorite caller, Pepperman, is hanging around somewhere.
You know he
I
is.
know he's going to be listening and he's going to call in for us. But for anyone else, if you want to call in, you're welcome to call in. You have some story you want to tell us, something that you want to add to the program. I know that there's a lot of people that know other people that have had some issues with skin or even have skin cancer. I know someone whose
Yeah.
mother died from skin cancer.
It's a horrible thing.
It's a horrible thing, and we need to get checked. You just want to encourage or you just want to send a shout out, you can call in and be live on the show right here with me and Dr. Glenn. We are going out on a break, and we'll be right back in a moment. This is the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Dr. Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins-Williams. Call in. You can call in at 252-756-2008 right here on Awesome Radio. We'll be right back in a moment. See you in a moment. Right back.
Hello, my name is Daniel from Greenville. We appreciate you for listening to Awesome Radio.
Awesome radio, yeah, it's awesome, awesome, can you feel it? Awesome, awesome, awesome.
It's Mother's Day, Love Day for Awesome Radio at the McGregor Downs Health Center, Greenville. Thank you, everyone, for your givings to help make this community act of love possible. We will be hand delivering gift bags to each lady resident at McGregor Downs on Friday, May 8th. If you would like to join us, please let us know so we can add your name to the visitors list. Our number is 252-756-3137. Let's come together to spread Jesus' joy to the lady residents at McGregor Downs Health Center. Reach us at 252-756-3137.
Awesome radio.
Hello, my name is Dr. Wiley Nifong. Thank you for listening to Awesome Radio.
Awesome radio, yeah, it's awesome, awesome, can you feel it? Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I would now like to go to our first audio clip, which is very brief. This is a young lady that appeared on the Steve Harvey show, and she's talking about her situation with polymorphosis, light eruption. If I can get it. Here we go. Here we go.
SPF all year round. Hi, Steve.
What's your name?
Hatia.
Oh, I got it right.
Yeah, you did.
Where's
Well, Steve, I'm allergic to the sun. I wear 70 SPF all year round. My friends are so upset because I don't go outside during the day. I stay in the house and I don't come out until after it's dark. I literally hate summer. I hate summer. I get sick, I get nauseous, it's unbearable. Yes, a black woman that's allergic to the sun. It is true. My brother, he actually calls me Auntie Vamp. Like I'm a vampire, Steve. How can I get my friends more aware of the sun and how dangerous it is for me?
Oh, I was because the sun is. I mean.
Yeah, the sun, that's out every day.
You know, it comes out every day.
It comes out every day.
You're allergic?
I'm allergic to the sun.
So what happens if you're in the sun?
If I go in the sun, I will break out in rashes, all red, itchy. Sometimes I get nauseous. And like I really have taken a Benadryl to help calm down, the antihistamine to help calm me down.
Have you been to the doctor for this?
Oh yeah, the dermatologist. It's called polymorphous light eruption. It has a whole name, it has a whole Facebook page and everything.
No way.
What can I tell my friends? They need to understand how serious this is.
Look, you should have went to Dr. Oz.
Welcome to a
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was an audio clip on this lady that appeared on the Steve Harvey show explaining polymorphous light eruption. I always get that wrong. It's not polymorphosis, it's polymorphous light eruption. Apostle, you have anything to add?
Yes, and so I think because we have so many documents on it, we do need to elaborate on a little bit more.
Yes.
And it means that I'm going to say that word right, Dr. Glenn.
Polymorphous.
Polymorphous light eruption. Polymorphous light eruption. What it means is actually that you're allergic to the sun, and that there are people that are literally, they can't go out in the sun. And I think that is so rare until we don't talk about it, and people may be definitely having symptoms of it and they don't recognize it.
Well, I remember last week when I said I think I suffer from just a slight bit of it because I took the initiative to stop going to the Sunday concert in the park in Greenville because that sun bearing down on me. Like she said, she get nauseous and sick. I was experiencing the same thing.
Oh yeah, and I do. I mean, I don't know that I have polymorphism, but I know the sun can affect all of us at some time when we get too hot or we're out there and things are too dry. I mean, maybe we don't have enough water in our body. It could definitely make us feel sick, give us a headache from being out, and even just looking at the brightness of how bright the sun is. We not be looking directly at the sun, but just being outside and seeing the brightness sometimes can give us a headache.
I'll elaborate a little bit, but I don't want nobody to get sick. So I'm enjoying the concert in the park. All of a sudden, my stomach felt like it was boiling over. Then I started feeling nauseous and I wanted to vomit. I just got in my car, turned the AC on high and drove back home.
Well, all of us has been in that place before where it's been so hot it seemed like the air you're breathing and the air itself is like a heater, like you breathing heat from a heater and you're so hot until it seems like you just can't get cool. And it can make you feel nauseous. And if you stay out there, you might you might find out that your stomach contents may come up because of the fact that you're so hot. And some of those can also be signs of heat stroke or, heat fatigue or, whatever they call it concerning being too hot. So it may not necessarily be allergic to the sun, but it may be the fact that we're allergic to being that hot. It's just hot out there and we need to move to a shade and get cooler at that time.
Yeah, because the sun comes out every day. And there's nothing we can do about that. So you have to adjust to it, find ways to deal with it.
So it says sun allergy or photosensitivity refers to an immune reaction causing itchy red rashes. And I think that's the difference here in just feeling sick from the sun, being too hot versus breaking out with red rashes, blisters, or hives. And that's where it gets to be very dangerous because that's an allergic reaction to the sun. Whereas you'll go out and you need to get like some type of antihistamine or some, Benadryl or something like that, as the woman mentioned on the audio, to help yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
That's just like the same at people that are allergic to peanut butter. You will have that same reaction like people that are allergic to peanut butter, but you'll have that reaction from going in the sun.
And on the flip side of that, when it's cold climate, no, we're not in an extreme cold climate area, but people that are, it has been said, and I know this for a fact, being a former firefighter, we were always instructed that your lungs would shut down at 200 something degrees. But they did some tests had some studies done, and now they conclude that your lungs can shut down at even 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And you know, it gets hot like it here in North Carolina, 90, 95, 100. So your lungs can absolutely shut down at 100 degrees because it depends on the climate, the atmosphere, your location, and a lot of other factors that I don't have with me. But I just want you to keep in mind, your lungs can absolutely shut down at 100 and something degrees.
Well, I'm telling you, I can understand that because I felt like sometimes, like my lungs was saying I'm finna shut down because it's too hot. I'm shutting down because the hot air is coming in. Go get into the cool.
That's right.
You don't have to wait to pass out and do all that stuff. You know, when you're breathing hard and that air is hot, you need to go get in some cool air.
That's right. You should use your common sense. And you know, common sense is just not common. It's just your ability to adapt to stuff. So use your brain, use common sense.
It says photoallergic reactions often appear on the neck, chest, and arms within minutes to hours. So if you're extremely allergic to the sun, you're going to get a reaction on your chest, necks, or arms, just like any other type of food allergy reaction.
Yeah, I remember I mentioned I used to break out boils and everything on my skin, particularly if I was near the ocean and salt water and there was seaweed involved. Just that aroma of seaweed, the heat, the sunlight, and being in that atmosphere, my skin would just break out in boils.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes I believe that in children that sometimes the beginning, I remember growing up as a kid and also having my own children and the older people saying they have a heat rash. Well, that might be a reaction to being out in the sun.
That's right, I remember that.
Remember they called it a heat rash?
Yeah.
And I can't remember what they would put on them or what they would do, but it would be a lot of fine bumps from the child being out in the sun. That could have been the beginning or a reaction to being out in the sun.
That's right, I don't recall what they used to use also, but I know it was some kind of ointment and it helped heal it up, so that was pretty good.
Yeah, so that could be a form of being allergic to the sun
Yes,
for a
right.
little one, or that they've been out in the sun too long. So you need to look at that and see, oh, it's not just a heat rash. You need to take them to the doctor and see if they're allergic to being out in the sun that long, or you need to put some some sunscreen on the child and make sure that they stay cool.
We have 30 seconds before the break. I possibly want to take us up to the break.
Hey, we have a few minutes. You can still call in here. We have some segments left, and we'd love to hear from you on today. What do you think about that heat rash thing? Do you think that could have been allergic to the sun? I'm putting a cliffhanger and a note out there so that you can, a question to our audience today. You know, we've all seen that itchy heat rash. Is that allergic to the sun? Hey, come on back after this break. Call in and let us know what you think about it. This is Awesome Radio.
The 11th Annual Youth Incarceration Prevention Ministry event beginning 12 noon Saturday, June 6 at St. John Missionary Baptist Church Soul Saving Center in Stokes at 2921 Briary Swamp Road. Youth of all ages are invited to attend this totally free event. Come get motivated to not make jail time your destiny. Keynote speaker Sheriff Paula S. Dance, along with other guest speakers to include Judge Wendy S. Hazelton, Lieutenant Gary Howard, Jalen Staten, Minister Derek Clark, Mrs. Julie Bunn. There will be gift card giveaways, food trucks, global gaming truck, bouncy houses, and more. Contact Eddie 252-341-7546. Evelyn 252-253-9520. Brenda 252-717-0097. The 11th Annual Youth Incarceration Prevention Ministry event. Saturday, June 6th, beginning 12 noon at St. John Missionary Baptist Church, Soul Saving Center in Stokes. Pastor Gregory V. Black. Scholarships and recipients will be recognized at this event.
Hello, my name is Daniel out of Greenville. Thank you for listening to Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU.
Radio, yeah, it's awesome, awesome, yeah, you feel it, awesome, awesome, awesome.
Welcome back to the Glenn Johnson Show, ladies and gentlemen. Motivation was Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Collins Williams. This is Awesome Radio, WECU, 1570 AM, 107.5 FM, Winterville, Greenville area. WNOS, 1450 AM, 102.3 FM, New Bern. WYLT, LP, 100.3, Rocky Mount. WBIS, LP, 106.9 FM, Espanol, Winterville. I had a document on babies and sunscreen, but I think Apostle explained it quite brilliant. So I like to move on to warts and common warts. You have that document available, Apostle?
Yeah, Dr. Glenn, are you sure we want to move that fast? We still have some things with polymorphism, and I still, I want to give people time to call in case they think that heat rash might have actually been an allergic reaction to the sun.
You're absolutely right.
What do you think, Dr. Glenn? You think that was, because the way they describe it here on the paper with the small little rash, and sometimes, to be honest with you, babies would be sick from that.
That's right.
They would have a fever and need Tylenol and everything. Those are all signs that someone could be allergic to the sun.
But you're absolutely right. We'll stick that with that for momentarily because we still have this 10-minute segment. We'll have 2 more 10-minute segments that we can talk about warts. So you want to continue with what you were talking about?
Yeah, so I want to give people a chance to call in because, I'm just saying I'm connecting dots here. And it hit my mind to think about those heat rashes that kids would have from being out in the sun. And I remember, I never got it, but I know some of my children used to have it and it would be itchy and sometimes they would end up sick at the same time they had that rash.
Let me ask you, was one of those ointments they use, was it A&W?
A&D?
A&D.
A&D lotion, yes. I remember A&D, but I remember something they would put on it. I can't remember, like some home remedy. It might have been calamine lotion. They would put right there on that pink lotion that made you look white.
I think that was calamine, yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was calamine lotion they would put on it. But I remember it. I remember, many kids, other kids, not myself. It seemed like my skin was tough. It didn't operate like that. Or I didn't get those rash, but I remember seeing babies, and having, or kids, younger kids, with a heat rash on their body. So, that definitely is something we need to see. It says stinging and burning on the skin. That sounds like that heat rash.
Yeah.
The kids used to be miserable with that. Give you a cool bath from it. They would give you a cold bath from it and put that calamine lotion.
That's exactly what I was about to say. You should wash up using either lukewarm water or cold water. Never use hot water or extreme hot water. That would just exaggerate the problem.
Oh yeah, and it said dermatitis can increase the risk. That if you already have a skin problem, then having a skin problem can increase the risk of being allergic to the sun.
And you know what else? Not only showering or bathing with lukewarm or cold water. I know some people that put 100% rubbing alcohol mixture with the water to wash their face and body.
And I remember that being put on that heat rash too. That alcohol, rubbing alcohol, which probably burned it anyways. It dried it out.
That's what it did. It burned so bad.
It dried it out too. But that probably wasn't made it start peeling and made it worse. Because they didn't always know what to do to take care of our skin and to preserve it and keep it from being damaged. Nobody thought about that sometimes something that happened to you on your skin when you were a child followed you into adulthood.
Yeah, but if I'm not mistaken, sometimes you think it will go worse, but sometimes that peeling or that flare-up might be the fact that it is working, it is helping. Because once that layer, it comes off, then you can see the skin that's very, very well.
Yeah, some of them, it does happen where it peels off and new skin is under there. But sometimes you end up with scars and you've grown and you look back and remember that you had that since you were a child.
Yeah, and one other thing I want to mention, because we have 5 minutes for this segment. So I have eczema, like I said. So when I went to my dermatologist here in Greenville, he could not believe I still had eczema at my age. He said, Mr. Johnson, most people grow out of eczema in their teenage years. I am shocked and surprised that you still have eczema. I said, well, Doc, as you can see, I still have it. It hasn't went anywhere. So I'm on a special regimen of treatment, and it seems to be working a little bit.
Yeah, so I know with eczema, you have to be very careful about, and I said this, I think, last week too, that you have to be very careful about what detergents and, even the body washes and things that you use, it could cause your eczema to flare up. Even this document here that we had from last week said that eczema in sunscreen, that your sunscreen could actually cause your eczema to flare up. So you have to be careful what you're putting on. The moisturizers,
That's right.
The facial washes, the body soap, and different things. Sometimes we don't want to pay good money for some good soap.
You have to check and make sure that it doesn't have any scent or fragrance. You have to use fragrance-free lotions or sunscreen, anything like that. Stay away from perfume, cologne, detergent, a lot of different things.
And that's exactly it, making sure that there are no heavy perfumes in the soap, because also the laundry detergent, some of them, I don't have allergic to or eczema, but I will be itching from that loud scent that's in some of them.
And that's exactly what I was about to say. I hate to use his name and point them out, but it doesn't mean that that you're using it. Just the fact that it's in the air and you're in close proximity to it will cause irritation. Like what it does to me when I in the area and somebody uses Irish Spring. Oh my God, you don't know how sick I get.
Oh yeah, Irish Spring is the one that has a loud scent. It has a fresh scent, and there's nothing against Irish Spring. Some people can use it, but I am one that cannot use that as well as Coast. Some of them, they smell very much, they smell similar, and they can be very loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of those detergents, it's the same thing. It will have you just to the point where you are so itchy from it, dry itchy, just skin itchy from the detergent. So I have to use the cheap stuff. I mean, really, I'm just saying the cheaper brands that don't have those loud, long smells that are lingering on it or whatever. I mean, the clothes get clean, but I can't use all that expensive.
Yeah. And since we mentioned Irish Spring, I just want to give this disclaimer. This wasn't intended to have any negativity towards Irish Spring soap, but I just want to point out the fact that it does do some harmful things to me and probably some others. So just use caution. Apostle.
Yeah, so be careful and just be careful what you're putting on. And if you see you're allergic to it, I know my husband, he really likes the loud detergents. He really likes to smell that laundry.
He does.
Yes, he does. Oh my goodness. And he'll pay the good money for those particular things. And I'm like, no, I got the little $5. The $5 cheap jug, and he's got the big $10, 15, and the big expensive ones. And we find ourselves doing laundry separately, where he has to do his in that smelly loud stuff, and I have mine in that cheap detergent because it doesn't make me itch.
That's right.
Yeah, so you have to do what you have to protect your skin. So we are so glad. Hey, we can go out on a couple more breaks. We're going on a break right now, and when we come back, we're going to talk about warts. I think there's a lot of people that are not informed about warts, and some things that they see on their skin, they may think it's a callus or something else, when it's actually a wart that has come from a virus. These are passed around a lot in schools and from person to person, and people may not even notice that touching certain surfaces, you can contract and get a wart on your hand.
And are warts contagious? Absolutely contagious.
Yeah, you high five and shaking hands with somebody, don't realize they have a wart, and then pass it on to you. I've never had them, but I've seen them, and I know what they look like. So, hey, come back. We're going to give you some information on warts and how they're transmitted and how to avoid them. And we want you to come right back. This is Awesome Radio. Back in a moment.
Health Pro is a licensed home care organization and a trusted provider of in-home care services with skilled nursing and personal care services. When your elderly parents live alone, there are many things that can be done to make general housekeeping and personal care easier. We are located at 408 West Arlington Boulevard, Suite 101C, Greenville. At Health Pro, our services provide a relief for the aging and the disabled population who prefer to recover in the comfort of their homes. Our services expand beyond the normal, and we are currently serving 17 counties in eastern North Carolina. Veteran personal care services, companion care, sitter care, respite care, private pay home care, pediatric, adolescent personal care services are just a few of the many services we offer. Health Pro, a local, trusted, leading provider of in-home care services. 252-364-8114. That's 252-364-8114.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Glenn Johnson Show. Motivation with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cummins-Williams. You are tuned into Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU. I would like to tape now play 2 audio clips simultaneously so we can move with the rest of our documentations on warts.
Welcome to another episode of Mythbusters, where we prove or disprove myths about the African bush and nature in general. Today's episode is on the myth that if you handle frogs or toads, you will get warts. Frogs and toads are slightly different. Frogs have this slimy, smooth skin, but toads are the ones that have those warty lumps all over. And what those are glands that secrete a type of toxin. Many toads can secrete this toxin as a defense mechanism. Sometimes when you pick them up, they might leave a slimy covering on your hands, and that is where the myth comes from, that if you get this liquid on you, you'll get warts. But this is in fact not true. If you're ever going to handle any frogs or toads, you must make sure your hands are clean, because their skin is extremely sensitive to any chemicals that are on your hands. So before you touch them, make sure your hands are clean, and after you touch them, make sure that you wash your hands. We could definitely call this myth busted.
Warts are rough, fleshy bumps that usually pop up on fingers or hands, and if you've ever had one, you might wonder what the heck it is and where it came from. You might have heard the claim that warts come from touching toads because they have warty-looking bumps on their skin, and hopefully you already know that's a myth. But even though toad bumps aren't contagious, there's a grain of truth to the idea, because warts are a kind of contagious skin infection. Warts are actually caused by human papillomavirus, or HPV. It's the same kind of virus that can cause cervical cancer and other health issues, depending on the specific strain and where the infection is. In the case of warts, the virus gets into the top layer of your skin called the epidermis through an opening like a scratch. Once it's in, the virus causes epidermal cells to go into reproductive overdrive. That's what actually produces the wart. And if you look closely at a wart, because, you know, who doesn't want to do that? You might see little black specks dotting the surface. Those are the blood vessels that give the wart food and oxygen. Because they're caused by a viral infection, warts are contagious. You can get HPV through skin-to-skin contact with someone who has warts, or by touching something that a wart has also touched, like a towel or a nail file. Once you have the virus, you can also spread it to other parts of your own body. A wart that spawns more warts can be called a mother wart. Everyone's immune system is different, so not everyone who picks up a strain of HPV will actually develop warts. We don't really know why some people are more prone than others, but children seem to be especially susceptible, probably because their immune systems are still developing. Some warts go away on their own, but it can take a year or more. But if you don't want to wait and risk spreading them, you can try over-the-counter treatments like salicylic acid, which kills off the top layer of infected skin. Some people even think covering warts with duct tape can help, but it's mostly anecdotal evidence. Nobody really knows why duct tape might work, but it could have to do with depriving the skin of oxygen or just peeling dead skin cells away. If you go to your doctor, treatment options open up even more. A doctor can freeze off warts, prescribe creams or medicines, or even remove them surgically. Whatever treatment you choose, at least you know who not to blame for warts. Leave those poor toads alone. Thanks to our Patreon patron Heather for asking. And thanks to all...
Okay, Apostle, you know what I see, or what I take from what he said in that audio was that it is an infection usually secreted under the skin and it's contagious.
It is highly contagious.
Highly contagious. What's your thoughts on that?
And I believe so. And look, Dr. Glenn, as we were just sitting here, it came to my mind that we probably should have covered ringworm too, because that's another one. Warts and ringworms is another common skin infection that people have, and especially among children. They'll have ringworm. I remember seeing it, in certain kids, they get it in their hair. And their hair would fall out. Plug of their hair is falling out, and it's from ringworm.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Ringworms itself is basically in the scalp.
Yeah, but it could be on the skin. It could go from skin to skin.
Oh, really?
Yes, it could be on your skin, and it's just like the warts. It's very highly contagious. You can get it from one child to the next. And it could have the appearance to be kind of, rough, kind of like eczema. When it's not eczema, it's actually ringworm. So it's something that a doctor would have to diagnose. But it can come from being out, kids out in the grass and stuff. They get a hold of stuff, or just being out, like I said, rough in the places where dog then left something in the grass, or it's been cleaned up, and still, ringworm and those type of things, they can get it from those environments.
Yeah, I believe that.
So when it said about the warts, he said that warts don't come from frogs. As is believed from handling frogs. It's from an infection. And I sat here and in my mind, I'm glad we looked at this document, because I thought that the genital warts were different. That I'm thinking that it's just like a common wart versus genital warts, and they all could come from the same virus, HPV. Because one could be sexually transmitted and the other one could be commonly transmitted.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and then there's a certain thing called a plantar wart, I think, and it could be under the bottom of your foot. So it said, how common are warts? Warts are common. They affect approximately 10% of the worldwide population. They're even more common in school-age children, affecting 10 to 20% in this age. Warts are more likely to affect people who have immunocompromised, and people who handle raw meat regularly, like butchers.
That's the part.
Crazy. That's crazy. I never thought about it, Dr. Glenn.
I know that's the part I got my
So now we got to segregate from the butcher, and then now he's touching the other meat with warts. I mean, come on now. It sounds
cross-contamination.
Yeah, and I have an issue with that. I don't know, Dr. Glenn. We might have to dig into that a little bit more.
Yeah, because that wouldn't got my attention.
We don't want to feel some kind of way about the butcher.
Yeah, because that one definitely got my attention.
Right.
Handling meat and cross-contamination.
Right, and then if you have it, I mean, what if they don't have the gloves on? And now you have the warts, and you didn't touch my chicken. You didn't handle my steak. We don't want to give them a bad name, but when I saw that, I'm like, wow, that was a piece of information I did not know.
No, neither did I.
Never thought about it. But it says symptoms and causes. What does a wart look like? Now, one of them, it said that it's dome shaped, but they're not flat. So some people might mistake a callus in their hand for a wart, because a wart can have a harder spot too, but it has a grainy texture on it. And I think that's what people need to look at, is look for a grainy texture on it versus a flat, hard surface.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you. What did a wart look like?
Yeah, so they have a grainy texture on them. They are smaller and smoother than other warts. This is the flat warts, and they grow in large numbers, like 20 to 100 at a time. That you have to notice something on your body to have that many and not see something.
Absolutely.
20 to 100 at a time. You don't just have one.
That's an overwhelming amount.
Oh yeah, you're gonna look and say, well, what's going on here with me? Go to the doctor and check that out. It said, and then the genital warts, we don't want to. They're sexually transmitted infection. That's a STI, which gets passed through skin-to-skin contact. And it said hard nodules with rough surfaces. And look before you leap. That's all I want to say. You need to look before you leap.
I feel sorry for those people that might have an STI, STD, so on and so forth.
Well, you know how many people don't? You know how many people, I know this world is crazy, and people are casually jumping from, place, and they see somebody, they're attracted to them, and you're in bed with them. You need to watch yourself. You
Yeah.
need to look and look before you leave. You're in there with that light off, you don't know what's going on.
Because some people are so extremely free spirited. You have to get away from that.
Yeah, you have to watch that. And I'm sorry. Look, get that light on and look at what you're getting.
All right, we have
Dr.
one.
Glenn, I hope I said that in a clean way.
I think you
We don't
did.
promote that. We don't promote that in Christianity, but I'm just saying,
And the information that we're giving out today is for your general knowledge and education. So, in the event, consult with the medical professional for any of the things that we just talked about today. We have 40 seconds left for this particular segment. Possible to take us at the break.
Hey, come on back. I want to talk about butcher's warts and a few more that you may not know or have heard of, and look at it here because we want to make sure that you're well informed. Hey, this is the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams, and we're broadcasting right here on Awesome Radio. Hang on there with this cliffhanger, and we want you to come right back. You need to hear this information. Sometimes we're laughing, but I'm absolutely serious about what I'm saying. Look before you leap. Hey, this is Awesome Radio. We'll be right back here in a moment. Hang on in there. Right back.
Awesome Radio.
I am Miss Mary Cox. I'm Keller Pippin's mother from Awesome Radio.
Awesome Radio. Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome. Can you feel it? Awesome.
Hello, I'm Edward Chisholm. I am the founder and president of EC Consulting Services. We're here to offer to the community a new program. It's called the Emerging Nonprofit. God put on my heart to help those that are in need, who are just having the idea of launching a nonprofit, or those that are new to the nonprofit sector. And so coming soon to this network will be the Emerging Nonprofit, from idea to impact. And we will cover, and that will be in May, coming soon in May. We will cover things like nonprofit development, 501c3 development, board development, community impact, data-driven organizations. These are all things emerging nonprofits need. So we are really, really excited about offering this to the community. If you want to contact me personally, you can contact me at 912-257-5338, or you can visit my website at www.eckingdomwriter.com. And we'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have as we continue to build the kingdom of Christ. Amen.
Awesome Radio.
I am Miss Mary Cox. I'm Keller Pippin's mother from Awesome Radio.
Awesome Radio. Yeah, it's awesome. Can you feel it? Awesome.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Glenn Johnson Show. Motivation with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams. Excuse me. We have reached our final 10 minutes of the broadcast for today. And Apostle, we're going to give you more information to conclude the broadcast. Apostle.
Yeah, we talked about that butcher's warts, where the butchers that are handling the meat. And what it says here is that those with the occupation with frequently exposure to a cold, moist environment, HPV type 7 causes butcher's warts. Now, I had seen before where meat, there's some people from eating, the meat and certain type can come up with these type of HPV, and they have not gotten it sexually transmitted. And so, I saw even some things on social media at one time where the person was accusing the other person of having, contracted a sexually transmitted, HPV or whatever, and it came from meat. And they were saying that it is in meat. You can get it from meat. So that is one of them. And it talked about here, this one is called focal epithelial hyperplasia, Hex disease. It's called Hex disease. And it says it's a rare condition in which the wart develops inside your mouth. or on mucosa, so in your mucous membrane. The warts are generally soft and whitish to mucosal color. HPV types 13 and 32 cause Hex disease. Are warts harmful? Warts in general are benign, non-cancerous, but they can become bothersome when they affect your self-esteem or make it difficult to do everyday things like walking or wearing shoes. And that must be the plantar warts that are on your feet.
And that first one you just spoke about, you said it was called butcher's wart.
Butcher's wart, yes.
And that's for people that work with meat.
They work with the meat. They handle raw meat like butchers whose occupation involves frequent exposure to the cold. Because those that are handling meat, they're going to be getting it out of the freezer.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to be going in. So that is one of the occupation hazards that happen right there.
That's incredible. And what you said about the plantar wart.
The plantar wart, I think, is something that's under the bottom of the foot, and we don't have that on here. But I've heard of the plantar wart, and the word plantar represents foot or under the bottom of your foot, that you could get certain warts there. And it talked about here that, you know, it can make it difficult to walk. So even though we don't have it defined on this paper, I know there is a thing called a plantar wart, and they could be under the bottom of your foot and cause a lot of trouble from there.
I believe there's a lot of different names for the warts, like common warts. They got some things for common warts, so on and so forth.
Yeah, so it said here, they're also giving, I know there's over-the-counter treatments where you could just go, I mean, and buy, it's very cheap wart removal things, and you could put it on there. Some people put it on there and put a Band-Aid. I've seen someone that had one on their finger, and I was like, well, what's wrong? And they said they had a wart, and I was like, oh God, I don't want it, whatever it is. I was looking kind of cautious of them touching things because I know that warts can be contagious. And working in environments where there's children and a lot of things being touched, you know, that's all it takes is.
And if I'm not mistaken, I recall they used to go to the pharmacy. They had a liquid that you could take with a dipper or a dropper. You suction it out and just drop it on your skin area where the wart is to remove it. I think it was freezing it, and remove it, or burning it.
That's right. It's called medical freezing. So some of them freeze. It's called waterway. Some of them are called like that, those type of names, and you could freeze them off. And it said electrosurgery, a treatment involving burning away the wart tissue using a specifically designed heated needle. I'm just sorry, freeze it or do something else. Don't burn it off. Can you imagine the smell of smelling that, your flesh burning like that?
Yeah, not only that, it's got to be painful.
Certain home remedies, it said, like covering warts with duct tape or over-the-counter products. Never try to cut or rip a wart by yourself. This can lead to infection and other health issues. So can a wart go away on its own? It says yes, about 65% of warts go away on their own after 2 years. Well, who wants to sit around with a wart for 2 years and you know that it's a wart? Get up and take care of it. Don't let it just wear out for 2 years. Oh, that thing I used to have there is gone. No, go get rid of it.
I think you should definitely seek medical attention or medical advice.
That's right. And if you know it's a wart, get rid of it. So it says this mainly applies to people who have healthy immune systems. And if you're immune, no compromise, warts probably won't go away on their own.
Because they think they're immune to it.
That's right. So it says you may be embarrassed, and I'll just say this part. Oh, there it is. Plantar warts can grow inward into your foot and be painful to walk on. There it is. It talked about it. Mental health issues. You may be embarrassed or ashamed of having warts, which can affect your self-esteem and mental health. Talk to your healthcare provider if warts are causing you distress.
I think that's a good one that people should know.
Oh, yeah.
So it won't affect your mental health.
Well, don't tell people. Don't go around saying, look, I got warts. No, not unless it's a, something that you're passing and it's a, maybe you want to inform them. Well, why would you, I had a few things I was going to say. I'm going to keep that inside.
I think it has something to do with why would you share your medical situation with anybody?
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I'm saying maybe if it's passed on sexually, you tell people that they're not going to do it. They're not going to have anything to do with you if they
That's
have
right.
good sense.
They're gonna, I can't think of the word. They're gonna do everything they can to eliminate yourself from being involved with you.
That's right. They're going to hit the door. That's what they should.
They're gonna be allergic to you.
Anybody that has good sense, they would hit the door. If you tell them, I have, this type of wart on, oh my goodness. You need to, that's why I said, look before you leap. But if somebody tells you they have that, I mean, don't engage with them.
You're gonna be allergic to that person.
I don't care, even with protection, don't do it. Don't do it. It's too risky. You don't know things could break or just handling it stuff. You don't want that. You don't want that. So it says, when should I see my healthcare provider about warts? It said, if over-the-counter treatments haven't helped or to give your wart the boot, talk to your healthcare provider. Now, I think that there's no over-the-counter treatment for the sexually transmitted ones, that there has to be something that is done from a doctor. You don't just go and take those off because it's a different type of infection.
I think that's absolutely correct.
Yeah, that's different from the common warts that are passed on the skin and that type of thing. Those things have to be removed by a doctor.
And we have 2 minutes remaining for today's broadcast. So I just want to say, I hope our listeners got some relative information. And as I said, as always, should you have concerns about your health, always consort with a medical professional. We have 1 minute remaining. Apostle will end the broadcast with 1 minute, 30 seconds.
Hey, if you want any of these documents, you can email Dr. Glenn and he will apprise you or send you these documents so you can look at them, and maybe you want some more information on how to treat. But as Dr. Glenn said, go see your doctor, your healthcare provider. Go see someone if you have an issue with any of these particular things. And even if you suspect that you're allergic to the sun, watch your kids, because they're going to find that some of them may not find it out until they're an adult. And the whole time they've been sick or they're going through rashes and different things, and it's from the sun, and you haven't looked to see if your child is allergic or not.
Yeah, and if you're looking online, you can see my email on the screen. It says, Dr. Glenn, my email address, GlennJohnsonShow@gmail.com. That's Glenn with 2 N's, JohnsonShow@gmail.com.
Hey, I pray that we see you back here on next week. I pray that you're blessed. I pray that you're safe. And I pray that you have a good week. And we want you to meet us right back here for the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins-Williams. Hey, Pepperman, I know you're busy today. That's why you didn't come on. But I'm still hanging on, and I'm listening for you on next week. Dr. Glenn?
Yeah, we enjoy you calling in. We advise all other callers to call in and contribute to the show. If you have a topic or idea that we should research and bring forth to you, please don't hesitate to let us know. GlennJohnsonShow@gmail.com. We have 10 seconds remaining, Apostle.
Hey, we want to see you right back here next week. And as Dr. Glenn said, send us some subjects and we'll get it out there to you. Hey, you're listening to us right here on Awesome Radio. We'll be back next week. Be blessed.
Awesome Radio. Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome. Can you hear it? Awesome. Awesome.
It's Mother's Day Love Day for Awesome Radio at the McGregor Downs Health Center, Greenville. Thank you, everyone, for your givings to help make this community act of love possible. We will be hand delivering gift bags to each lady